When the Department of Defense awards a contract or establishes an intergovernmental agreement, a determination needs to be made on how risky the partnership is. In other words, do I completely trust the contractor enough to have a handshake agreement? Many times, there is low risk. Take a landscaping contract on a military base as an example. A landscaping services contract is likely awarded on a regular basis at a relatively low cost with very little variability in the cost. The government would likely use a firm fixed price contract or one that was mostly level of effort tasks, meaning we would pay the going hourly rate for the landscaping and nothing more. Both sides have a good understanding of the level of support required. Contracts are not always low risk. What if instead we contract the development of a new generation fighter jet? A fighter jet development contract would be a very high cost contract with a lot of variability in the cost. The government would likely use a cost plus type contract since neither side has a good understanding of the final effort required at contract award. The fighter jet development contract requires EVM reporting. The landscaping doesn't. Why is this the case? One consideration is contract cost variability. In defense acquisition, this is a function of the contract type. If a contract's cost value is not fully fixed, then EVM could apply. Fully fixed contracts are called firm fixed price, FFP. EVM reporting is not required on FFP contracts since the total cost is fixed at contract award. In our personal lives, we all have a point at which we consider something a large purchase. We would perform research and read the fine print before handing over large sums of cash. $20 million represents the point at which enough funding is on the line that the government can no longer completely trust the contractor without status reports in the form of EVM. It would be fantastic to have EVM on every contract, but that is not practical for every small contract. If the expected final cost is less than $20 million and the government program manager considers there to be sufficient risk with the effort, they can ask their milestone decision authority for permission to apply EVM. The next EVM applicability test is the length of the contract. The power of EVM is to detect issues during contract execution. There needs to be enough time to take action to correct detected problems. If a contract is less than 18 months, contract status updates aren't extremely useful. One of the benefits of EVM is to be able to tell if you are ahead or behind the plan. The final applicability test comes down to if variances are detectable. Level of effort tasks, by definition, are never ahead or behind the plan, so it is impossible to tell a status on those tasks. For EVM reporting to be valuable, we need minimal LOE tasks. Let's go back to our fighter jet versus landscaping example. Now that we know the 4 EVM applicability tests, we see that the fighter jet checks all the boxes.